Hi guys, my name's Darren and today I'm going to show you through the library section in Lightroom. I use quite a lot of keyboard shortcuts, so I will go through those as we go along. If we look over to the left hand side, we've got a preview here of the image that we've selected in the screen, and if we were to click on that navigator, it will then bring that picture up full screen. To switch back to all of the thumbnail views, you can press G on the keyboard, or you can cycle between the different modes of the thumbnails at the bottom here. Alright, so we're just going to look at the grid view first. Then over here it's telling you how many photos you've got in your catalogue. So we've got 286 in there at the moment. And then the rest of it is all about navigating to where the pictures are. So as you add more libraries into this, you'll be able to go through and select them from here. So we are looking at the raw files for Bladinia. Over on the right hand side here, we just select one of the pictures, it will show us the histogram overview for that picture. You've got a quick develop module, which I don't personally tend to use, but if you've got a preset that you use a lot and you've not used it during the import stage, you can then go and select it in here and choose what ones you want to apply. Same thing with the white balance. You can choose from the standard white balances that you get on your camera. I tend to use a grey card, so I'm not going to use that. Keywording here, this is very useful if you are creating images for the stock libraries, because you can put your keywords in here, and if those same keywords apply to a lot of different images, you can highlight them all and then you can click sync or sync settings and it will match all of those keywords for you. So now we've expanded the metadata down here, we can see that everything that we put in during import has appeared. You've got your file name first, the folder that it's in is raw, you can title your image if you like and give it a caption, but here's all of our copyright information that's in there, and creator is myself there. Capture date was actually the 21st of August 2024, and that tells you the size of the picture. Now to go through the different views, at the moment we're looking at the grid view. If we wanted to go to full screen, we can either press E on the keyboard, or we can press this little thumbnail on the bottom left here, and this is the loop view. If you wanted to zoom in onto the picture so that you can see it in better detail, just click on it, and then you should be able to click and drag around the image. And this were all shot from a moving car, so they're not going to be all nice and sharp and in focus. But then if we look on that one, there we are, we can zoom in and look around the picture. Now let's say that we've got two pictures that are very similar and we want to compare them side by side. Let's take for example these two. If I hold Control and click, it's going to select the two of them, and then we can either press C on the keyboard or press this little thumbnail which says XY to go into the compare view. Now that we are in the compare view, we can press the magnifying glass and it will zoom in on exactly the same part of the picture. Now let's say that we're trying to compare his face here to his face over here. Well, we can't see it now because it's in a different part of the picture. So if we hold Shift and click and drag onto there, it should now, I'm getting a bit happy with my clicking, take us to zoom in onto that area of the picture, and then we can compare the sharpness between each one or his expression on each one. Now if this one is better than the one on the left, then we could press up and it will move it into the first position, or then look at the next picture on the right hand side that we want to compare it with. We can also cycle through the picture on the right by pressing the right arrow key or the left arrow key to compare different ones. Now this is really good when we're using the star rating system, because if this one is better, we can now either put a flag on it down here to mark it, or if we are if we're done the flags and we're up to the next section and we want to filter it a bit more, we could then add a star onto there as well. So I go back to the grid view, we can see all of our pictures again. So giving images stars are a very quick way to go through them. Generally what I'll do with the images at the beginning is I'll go into grid view, if the picture isn't big enough. We don't really need this on the side. Once we've imported everything and we know where we are, we can press that little arrow and it will hide it. Same thing on the right hand side here. If you want to hide it, press that little arrow and it disappears. Or you can bring that back, or you could go to full screen by pressing F on the keyboard. Now we can scroll through all of the different pictures, and what I'm looking for on the first run through is anything that isn't sharp or doesn't look good to me. I will then mark it as what we call a reject. So this one you can see is a little bit blurry, so if I was to press X on the keyboard, it will mark this as a reject and it will grey out the picture. So if we go back to grid view and come off of that, you can see now it's greyed out. So that's one that I'm going to get rid of later. So that's what I do for all 200 odd pictures first. Let's go through every single one, make sure they're sharp, and if they're not, put an X on it, move on to the next one. So that one's blurry as well, so put an X on there. Okay, so that's our quick way of doing that. Now let's say we want to sort these pictures so that we see the best ones first. What I'll tend to do is find a series of images. Let's have a look at these, for example. I'll highlight all of those. So you can hold shift and do it that way, or click on the first one, hold shift, click on the last one, and it will highlight all of them. Alright, so now that we've got all of those highlighted together, we want to compare those 5 pictures. So we can either go down the bottom here and click on this survey view icon, or you see in brackets there it says the letter N. So that's the keyboard shortcut, so press N and they come up side by side. If you press tab, you can cycle between having these side panels open or closed. So now they're a lot bigger by having them closed, and I can compare each one. So now which ones are better? Well, I don't like this one because I've got a bit of a car coming in here, and if I was to try to crop it off, it's not going to be enough. So if I hold control and click on the picture, it then removes it very, very quickly. Same here, you've got a bit of car coming in. Kind of like it, it's a little bit artistic, but I don't really like it that much, so I'll control and click that again, and then that's left me with these 3. Now at the moment the colours on the left one here aren't great straight out of camera, but these can be adjusted, so I'm not too worried about that. I quite like the one in the middle, that works really nice. So what I'll then do is I'll turn caps lock on, because this will allow me to filter through each picture as soon as I press the keyboard shortcut for a pick, and then it will move on to the next one. So if I press P, it will add a flag to that first one, and you'll see now the black line around the outside has highlighted the second one. So I could put a P on that one and then a P on that one, and now all of them are highlighted. Press G to go back to grid view, and we can then filter all of our flagged images. So at the top right here, you see at the moment it says filters off, and click that and click on flagged, and now all of the ones that were flagged now show up. So we'll highlight all of them again and press N to go into the view to compare them all. We can then go, okay, which ones are better here? Well, we quite like this one because it's a bit more mountain compared to that one, so we'll click on that one, control click on that one to make it disappear. Now out of these 3, yeah, okay, well, said about the colours here could be saved, but do you know what, I quite like the layout of these 2, they're very similar, so I'll click on there just to bring those 2 up. Now if I look at these 2, I can already see this one isn't as sharp as this one, so I could click off of that one, which then leads me to this one. This is my final pick, and this is where the stars come in. So this is one that we actually put a star on earlier, so you can either do it by clicking on the stars underneath like this, or you can do it by pressing numbers on the keyboard. So 1 for 1 stars, 2 for 2 stars, 3 for 3 stars, and you can go all the way up to 5 stars. So the advantage of this means that when it comes back to your filter bar up here, you can also go by rating and filter everything by the amount of stars. So now I've got 1 star. We take that back off, take the flag back off, and then, I don't know, let's randomly just choose a few more with 1 stars on, and maybe this one or this one. Right, so now let's go back to filter by flag, filter by star rating. So now at this point you've then got your 3 images that you can compare. And do you remember earlier I was showing you the view where you can compare? So we've got the XY here, or C on your keyboard, to compare each one. So now we can cycle through those 3 by pressing the right hand arrow, and if we like the next one better, we'll just press the up, and then that goes into that position. Then we can compare the other 2 to see which ones we like. And then once we've decided on that, and we'll do a little zoom in on each one again, just to make sure that it's sharp. Remember, if you hold shift and then click and drag, you can move that about so it's in a similar position. Same that side. See, the one on the left is slightly sharper than the one on the right, and we've got some really nice details in the sky there. So then that then becomes a number 2. Continue that all the way up to 5 stars. So I'm just going to turn all of these back off so that we reset back to the beginning. And there we go. So that's a very quick way for you to be able to sort through your images, and that's the overview of the library section. There are other advanced bits, but they are the things that you are going to need the most. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the tutorial, and I'll see you in the next one.